Hello everybody, today I'm going to show you a studio design that we designed here at Soundproof Your Studio inside an existing garage, and I'm going to take you through the entire set of plans so you can understand what it's like to design a soundproof one-room home recording studio in your garage. Let's dive right in, everybody. Alright, so what we're going to do here is I'm just going to show you guys this garage studio here, and what we have, you can see from looking down, we've got a garage. So this is a standalone garage, you can see right here. And we've created a one-room studio in here. So mixing desk, sidecar, couch, piano, drums, acoustic treatment all the way around. And what I'm going to do is just go through the entire process with you so you can understand what we did, which is going to be a really fun one. So basically, just so you understand, there's a double wall system all the way around here. And you can see a double wall system here as well. So this is meaning two 2x4 studs, two sets of 2x4s with a 1-inch air gap. And then we've got the ISO store door right there. And that is the general idea. The other thing that's really cool about this studio, and we'll go down here, is they've had these truss systems. So this is pretty common in a lot of garages where you have a existing truss system, but we can't usually hang a ceiling from this without redoing it or modifying it, because the ceiling could fail, because putting a 10 pounds per square foot load limit on top of a system like this often will lead to an engineering failure. So instead of doing that, I offered to this client, let's just do an independently framed ceiling, because we already have a pretty high garage ceiling height. And overall, that's going to save you on the cost and the trouble of trying to redo this. Plus, it also offers better isolation. You'll also notice that, we really want to tight seal all the way around. Another thing is we're putting in spray foam underneath the cavity above the studio, just because we want to seal off that entire roof. Then we come down here, you can see, of course, we want to build a new ceiling off our interior walls, as you can see right there. And we're putting insulation on here, which is very, very important. And you can also see, this is weird, we put a gable wall up here because we didn't want sound coming across and then into this cavity above. So we're creating a completely airtight cavity above our independently framed ceiling. And you can see that all here, which have been done nicely in these SketchUp and AutoCAD views. Next thing we usually like to show are our fire stops. And so in the fire stops plan, we're really just showing that we have a fire stops every 10 feet per international codes. And these are going to be vertical fire stops. So fire stops that stop the spread of fire horizontally. So counterintuitive, but vertical fire stops stop horizontal fire, and horizontal fire stops, which I'll show you as well, stop vertical fire. So this is an example of them. Kind of how we've built them is using 5/8 inch gypsum board as the fire stop, and then back rod and acoustic caulk to keep it decoupled so that the interior wall doesn't touch our exterior wall via the gypsum board. Kind of a unique design I came up with, but it's been working great, and simplifies the product a lot. And you can actually attach that to one stud on your inside wall and not on the other, just so it stays in place. Another example of our fire stops here. I'm just kind of go through this quickly. We've got our floor. Like to do an underlayment, usually just like an acoustic sound muffler from Home Depot is what I usually recommend. And then I like to do engineered hardwood as well. Next, we've got, I'm just going to keep scrolling down. We like to do our building sections, and you can really see the acoustic layout and just the whole system here, which is really nice. So what's going on is that we've got GIK Acoustics paneling on the back wall. And the way the studio is set up is how I like to do a lot of my studios, where drums are in the back. We've got a nice couch towards the middle. He wanted to put an upright piano, which is great. And then we're hanging guitars on the walls, which is something the client really wanted. And then, we've got our bass traps in our corners, where we've got our ceiling clouds by Alex McVeigh Acoustics. Shout out to Alex McVeigh. He just hung my cloud right here. Amazing acoustician. He's an amazing cloud builder and also acoustic builder. He does a lot of custom acoustic panels for people here in Nashville, and we're working together now to do the clouds for my clients. So then you can see the more technical stuff down here. We've got our wall sections, just showing a little bit more detail involved in what's going on with the walls here. So in this design, we just did 2 layers. So it's going to be 1/4 inch plywood and then 5/8 inch drywall on the inside all the way around. And then we've got our, I'll show you this in a second, we beefed up the existing 2x6 wall, which was pretty cool. You do this. So you add 2 layers of 5/8 inch gypsum board right in between the bays. We can't put them here. A lot of people want to put them here, but that would create what's known as a triple leaf effect. So instead, we're beefing up our walls, and I've kind of moved in and out of doing this. I might even do it with my new studio that I'm going to move into eventually at this new house where I am right now. But I'm kind of, it's a lot of labor and extra costs, but I think it's worth it in this scenario because we're really trying to beef up the exterior, which didn't have a lot of weight. So I mainly do this when I'm like, thinking, okay, I need some more mass in this system, so I'm going to do it the best I can without ripping off the entire exterior of the building. Then we've got our door. I love the ISO store doors. There's not too much to show here other than the rubber. So we do 16th inch rubber across the bays, the 2 walls here, and that just seals everything up. And then you can install your door on top of that. So we just use, you can use construction adhesive, some wood screws to attach this rubber in, just make sure it's airtight. I like to run a bead of acoustic sealant all the way around the edges to make sure that it's sealed to the existing rough opening. And then the ISO store comes delivered and you just put it together via the instructions, which is really, really nice. And then this is important. You put a little bit of putty pad around between the rough opening and where you shim the door. And this will help make sure that sound doesn't pass around the frame, ruining your whole ISO store door, right? So don't do that. Drop seals. You got all sorts of seals here that the ISO store provides, and it's really, really great. Here's some more information on them. I'm not affiliated. I should be, but I'm just blowing them up as best I can. Then we come into our electrical plan, star grounding system here, which gives you really clean audio. Got lots of videos on that if you're interested in learning more about it. And then a typical wiring diagram here. This is a very simple wiring diagram. Sometimes we do more complex ones, but this is just basic, 2 outlets, 1 star grounding, 1 regular, and no audio cabling, low voltage cabling through the walls, which was kind of nice for this to keep it simple. Then we've got our good old wiring plan from the elevation view. And I'm kind of going to cruise through this a little bit quicker, and then we're going to get to our HVAC system schedule. And the HVAC system schedule for this is what I've been doing more, and I'm going to definitely do this for my own system. In humid climates, I like to do the Broan ERV. We've got 150 CFM ERV here. This is going to be our return baffle box system, and this is going to be our supply. This is the April Air dehumidifier. Either the 100 pint or 80 pint should work depending on your dehumidification needs. And this is a separate baffle box system because it is running its own fan in there, and I don't want to have to mix it in with this one, increasing CFM loads and the size of our baffle boxes. So, people never like this. It's a unfinished garage over here, so it's not that big of a deal. But I did want to put this in so that this is like the luxury mechanical system that I've really come down to. The only thing that would make this better is if you had a humidifier system in there as well, but that means running water out to the studio, which we don't have. So there's a top-down view of that, running everything in. The sizing of all this I calculated to make sure that our feet per minute airflow does not go so fast that you hear the sound coming in through the vents, which is a real thing. I'm actually dealing with that right now in my current bedroom studio as I wait to build my future studio in the coming months. So this is the system right here. You can sort of see a little bit more of that there. And then this is what I call the chimneys, which is just the system that transitions the air through the wall while keeping it sound isolated. Without a chimney, technically your sound isolation system breaks down as it passes through the wall. So this continues that while keeping everything together. The key here is you'll notice that our bracing, it's hard to see, but this is a 1/4 inch off of it so that nothing's touching the chimney, as I say. And then you can see inside our baffle box, we use 2-inch duct liner from, it's called EchoVerb. And you guys can check that out on Google. EchoVerb 2-inch duct liner. It's good stuff. We've used it a lot. Clients are happy. and it works really well, and it's not, you know, toxic. It's all made of cotton, so it's really safe for your lungs, which is important when you're running air through there. Another example of our baffle boxes is just like baffle boxes for days. And then we get to our acoustic schedule, which is really cool. So here you can see we label all the acoustic treatment for our clients, and then you can see we've actually built a custom soffit system here. One thing I forgot to mention is there is a mini split right there for heating and cooling. So the mechanical system is both ventilation, dehumidification, and heating and cooling. We get really technical, and I like to do these polycylindrical diffusers these days from GIK. I'm a really big fan of them. They're really awesome from an acoustic standpoint, and they went out of fashion, and I'm glad they're coming back because they're way more useful than like quadratic diffusers in small rooms. So it's my preferred approach, and they're cheaper generally than a lot of the more expensive equipment out there. And they look cool. And then we have our Alex McVeigh acoustic clouds, which you can buy from Alex McVeigh. He's now shipping across the country, at least for me, and I think for other people too, but definitely reach out to Alex McVeigh if you want some amazing acoustic panels like this. And then our custom soffits, which I keep changing my mind on how I like to do these, but the essential idea is that you're building a wood-framed soffit and then filling it with Knauf Ecos insulation. I mean, that's pretty much what it is. And then you have an air gap. This stacking is one option. You could do that. It's like a super chunk bass trap, but to save money, I kind of sometimes prefer to do it where I just lay them across the front and then across the bottom. We kind of go back and forth. And then what you guys really want to see is the beautiful 3D renderings here. The final garage renderings in this studio look amazing. Shout out to my team. Matt, one of our designers, is amazing at 3D renderings. And this really brings your studio to life so you can see it, and your builder can see it too to make sure that it all works. And then we do a materials list at the end so you know exactly what to do. All right, I'm going to wrap this video up here. For those of you who are new, I didn't even introduce myself. I'm Wilson Harwood. I'm a studio designer and acoustician based out of Nashville here in Tennessee. And I design studios all over the world, all over the United States, Canada, you name it, I can help you. There's two ways that I can help you if you've decided that watching this, you're like, yeah, this guy knows what he's talking about, and I really need him to design my home recording studio at this higher level. If that's the case, you can always reach out for a Soundproof clarity call and just go to soundproofyourstudio.com/step1, and you can sign up on my calendar right away. 30-minute meeting, no strings attached. I'll just talk to you, see if we're a good fit, learn more about your project. If you're not quite ready for that, I totally get it. I understand. It's kind of awkward jumping on a call right away with somebody. But you can also check out my free soundproofing workshop. That's at soundproofyourstudio.com/workshop. It's 30 minutes of in-depth teaching, just going through exactly how to build your home recording studio. If that's something you're interested in, go check it out. It's just free. It's out there. You can just watch it right away. And it's giving all of my information to you, which is what I love to do with this channel and this business. Again, that's at soundproofyourstudio.com/workshop. All right, everybody, I'll see you all next week with more information on soundproofing and room acoustics.